There's some appointment that you count down to for weeks. This was one of them. For days, I kept telling myself, maybe today is the day. Maybe today somebody will finally explain why my neck keeps swelling, why my ear hurts, why there's a lump in my throat, why prednisone made such a dramatic difference. I wasn't walking into this appointment expecting a miracle. I was walking in, hopefully finding the understanding of my own body. Getting there was the first battle. People think the appointment starts when the doctor walks into the room. It doesn't. Sometimes it starts hours before. David works an hour away. He couldn't just leave work whenever he wanted. The office told me if I was more than 20 minutes late, then I would have to reschedule. That was not an option in my mind. So we paid $80 for an Uber. Not because I wanted to, but because I couldn't risk missing this appointment. And David drove straight from work to meet me. By the time I got there, I already made the long 5-minute walk back to the clinic. My body had already hurt before anyone ever called my name. Then the moment everything fell apart. Then I heard, come around to the back, we're going to have to reschedule. I immediately started crying. And not because I wanted special treatment, not because I didn't understand that they had a policy, but because when you've spent months trying to figure out what's going on inside your body, you don't hear, we're going to reschedule. You hear, you're going to have to keep waiting. Thankfully, the receptionist spoke to the doctor. The doctor agreed to see me. I just had to wait. The relief I felt in that moment, I can't even describe it. I truly believed that this was the appointment I was finally going to get some answers. I thought I was seeing an ENT. I thought we were going to talk about my ear, my throat, my neck, my jaw, the swelling, the lumps, the pain, the questions that have been keeping me awake at night. Instead, I learned something that I did not know before. This was not just a general ENT visit. This was a head and neck oncology appointment. And their job was to answer a very specific question. Do I see evidence of cancer or another surgical problem in the head or neck? That was today's mission. I just didn't know that walking in. She examined my neck. She felt the areas I pointed out. She performed a scope down my nose. The first side hurt so badly that I could not take the camera. So she switched to the other nostril, and it went through without a problem. Immediately my mind filled with questions, like why? Why was one side so painful? Why wouldn't it go through? What did she feel in my neck? What was causing all this fullness that you can clearly see in pictures? But those questions never got answered. When I got home, I read the note visit. No massive, normal movement in my vocal cords. No ENT findings to explain my symptoms. When I first read that, I felt discouraged because I thought, how could there be no findings when I can clearly see this in my own photos? But then I realized something. The doctor wasn't saying nothing was happening. She was clearly explaining that from today's examination, that she doesn't have an explanation of any signs of head and neck cancer for what I'm experiencing. Those are two different statements. The hardest part wasn't hearing bad news. The hardest part was walking out with more questions than when I walked in. I wasn't told what she thought that it was. I wasn't told why one side of my nose hurt so bad. I wasn't told what she believed what was causing my symptoms. Instead, I left with pictures from inside my throat and questions that still didn't have answers. Today taught me something that I never expected. Every specialist has a different job. Sometimes the goal isn't to tell you what's wrong. Sometimes the goal just may be to rule out something that may be dangerous. Today ruled out one road. It didn't tell me which road I'm actually on. And that's frustrating, but it's still progress. Today wasn't the appointment that I expected, but it taught me something that every patient should know. A specialist can answer a question that they were asked without answering the question that you were hoping they'd ask. That's why understanding who you are seeing is just as important as why you are seeing them. Today's doctor looked for head and neck cancer. She didn't find it, and for that, I'm grateful, but my journey is still not over because I'm still looking for an answer to a different question. Why am I hurting? This map isn't about proving that something is wrong. It's about refusing to stop until I find out what it is. Today's appointment didn't give me the explanation I was hoping for, but it did remove one possibility. Sometimes that's what progress looks like. Not finding the answer, but marking that one question off the list. Tomorrow, I'll keep asking, I'll keep learning, I'll keep advocating, and I'll keep following the map. Because every appointment, even the disappointing ones, still move the journey forward.